I'm live from Facebook as well as YouTube. I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm just going live on Instagram. Today, we are going to talk about building muscle mass and also building some physical strength. So, this is extremely important as we age, but even in your you know this is extremely important in today's day and age because a lot of the fad diets, so from my perspective, I'm seeing a lot of dietary changes that are leading to muscle loss. So this is like a very important discussion we're going to have. I'm quickly going to go live on Instagram so I can talk everywhere at the same time. um, Perfect. I guess I just need one more minute. Perfect. So I'm live here on Instagram. I'm live here on Facebook. Today's topic is building muscle mass as well as muscle strength. Um, why this keeps pausing? Okay, perfect. So building muscle mass and muscle strength is today's topic. Let's talk about why. Right. So, why are we looking at building the muscle mass? So, one of the biggest things is, when we start aging as a natural aging process, right? What happens is there is involuntary loss of muscle mass, muscle strength, as well as muscle function. So you're not just losing the muscle mass, but you're also losing some muscle strength, right? And you're also losing muscle function. And this is known as age related muscle loss. It's called sarcopenia, and that's a natural part of aging. So this is a very common part. This is a very natural part of aging. So everybody is going to end up losing some muscle mass, right? But an interesting fact is that after the age of 30, right? So we don't even look at aging until, we are into our, 60s or 50s is when we really think about aging. But interesting fact when it comes to your muscle loss is age related muscle loss can set in sometimes as early as 30, right? So 30 years of age. And every decade of life, like every 10 years, you're going to lose as much as 3 to 8% muscle mass, right? And this decline is going to be much higher after the age of 60. So men lose about 30% of their muscle mass during their lifetimes, which is quite a bit, right? You don't want to lose 30% of muscle mass. If we compare it to the rest, like whole life, like that's a lot of muscle loss, right? I can see a few people log in on Facebook. If you're watching this live, say a quick hi. I can see some of them are on YouTube as well, and I have a few people watching on Instagram as well. So just say a quick hi, and just if you're watching this live, put a hashtag as live. If you're watching this as a replay, put a hashtag as replay. If you have any questions for me during this time, or even if you're watching this video later on and you have questions for me, just put your questions in the comment section. Hi Darshana, how are you? It's been a long time that I've seen you. I hope you're doing okay. So if you are watching this, just say a quick hi. So again, why this is important, because involuntary loss of muscle mass, muscle strength, and function is also a big contributor to disability when it comes to older people, right? If you don't have enough muscle mass, if you don't have enough muscle strength or function, that can again lead to falls. It can increase your risk of falls. It can increase your vulnerability to injury as well, right? And eventually, like if that's the case, then it can lead to functional dependence, it can lead to disability as well. And often a decrease in the muscle mass is also accompanied by a progressive increase in the fat mass as we age, right? So this will change the body composition, and as your body fat increases, there is also an increase in the incidence of insulin resistance, which means you have enough insulin, which is your blood sugar balancing hormone, but because you have enough like excess fat, your insulin is not sensitive anymore, your body is not responding to the insulin anymore. So that's why we are going to discuss today. So a few things we're going to discuss today is we will be discussing the three reasons why you're losing muscle mass rapidly. We are going to talk about testing for optimal muscle mass. So we are going to talk about how to test for it. We will also be talking a little bit about, the one thing that is really crucial for muscle retention. So this is the one thing that I've seen in my clinic, that is extremely crucial for muscle retention. We talk about how much protein should you be eating, whether all the protein shakes, protein supplements, energy bars, those are working for you or not. So we're going to talk about that. Hi, Noel. Thanks for joining me. Live, we're talking about muscle mass, muscle loss, everything to do with muscles today. Right? So let's get started. So, three reasons why you are losing muscle mass rapidly. Number one is going to be inactivity, right? So, inactivity is one of the biggest causes that I have seen. If you don't use it, you are going to lose it, right? And that is extremely true when it comes to your muscles. And that is one of the reasons why strength training is should be an integral part of your exercise regimen. So every single time when you plan a workout, I see so many people focus on cardio. So everybody focuses on cardio. They want to exercise, they want to lose the weight, but they always look at treadmill or elliptical or walking or running, whatever it is, right? But those are not really the activities that are going to help you build a lot of muscle mass. When we are specifically talking about building muscle mass, we are talking about strength training. We're talking about lifting weights. I don't expect everybody to go and start lifting 100 pounds. That's not going to happen. But do what is comfortable to you. If you are at home, start by lifting some cans in your kitchen, right? So if you have those canned chickpeas or a little bit of heavy bottle, you can start lifting those and working your muscles out, and that is a good start for you. So when it comes to building muscle mass, strength training is extremely extremely important, and that will help. When you are training your muscles, when you're lifting, you're actually stretching and breaking a little bit down, right? But that's providing the strength to your muscles. So this is extremely important. Before I go to the second point, I'm going to say a quick hi to Vanessa. Thank you for joining me live. Mary Ellis is here as well. Thanks for joining me live. Barbara is here as well. Thanks for joining me live. If you have questions about muscle mass, muscle strength, physical strength, feel free to put it in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to answer. So we are talking right now about three reasons why you're losing the muscle mass rapidly. Number one is inactivity, right? Or the wrong kind of activity. So if you are inactive, if you're a couch potato, or if you're just walking a little bit, but you're not using your muscles actively, you are not going to build them. So that's the number one point. I'm going to say a quick hi to Vibha. The second point is if you are eating the wrong kind of protein. So this is very interesting. A lot of the times people eat very low amounts of protein, but I don't think that's true anymore, because there is so much consciousness around, oh, you should be eating protein, you should be eating protein, and everybody wants to have protein shakes and energy bars, right? Especially when you're traveling, it has become a convenience. If you're working, the energy shakes are replacing your meals, right? So for everyone, that has become a huge convenience, but it could be the wrong kind of protein for you. And I will give you a very simple example that in my clinic, I will test for food sensitivities. I test for whey, I test for casein, which are two of the milk proteins. I test for animal proteins as well. So chicken, pork, bacon, ham, turkey, beef, right? And eggs as well. Protein is also found in vegetarian foods or vegan foods. Like you look at quinoa, which is more a plant-based protein, fantastic source of protein. Soy, tofu, tempeh is another good kind of protein if you buy the cleaner organic soy, right? But your body is not going to process it if you're sensitive to it. So today, because I mentioned I'll be talking a little bit about case studies as well, I just last week tested a client, and we were looking at this 30-year-old lady who's working hard in the gym, and she's a weightlifter, right? So her muscle mass was extremely low. When it comes to a weightlifter, for a weightlifting female, I want to see at least a 30 to 35% muscle mass. 35 would be more optimal, because she had been weightlifting for a long time. And when we did the body composition analysis in the clinic, what we found was her muscle mass was at 28%, and she was eating protein. So the consumption of the protein was not the problem. The problem was that she was sensitive to the whey shakes that she was taking. She was having a lot of gastric disturbances, diarrhea, like issues, constipation occasionally. So her digestion was completely off and she was not utilizing the protein that she was eating, right? So this is just one example, but I've often seen, like, even if you have a lot of ham in your diet, or if you have beef in your diet, but sometimes if your digestion weakens, you are not able to digest the red meat, you're not able to digest heavier forms of meat, right? And that is when, even though you're eating the protein, your body is not able to utilize it and build it into the muscles. So that's the second reason. So the wrong kind of protein if you're eating for your body, right? And there is no universal wrong kind of protein, but we're talking specifically about you, we're talking specifically about your digestion, right? So if you're eating something that you're sensitive to, if you're eating a lot of milk and paneer and cheeses, but if you're sensitive to casein or whey, if you're eating a lot of beef but you're sensitive to the beef, right? So that will show that, okay, something's going off in your body and you're not utilizing that protein. Now, the third reason why you're losing muscle mass rapidly is you are doing a fad diet, right? So I have seen so many crazy diets on the planet. I'm just like 39. I know I'm saying the word just 39, but I've seen at least, like so many different kinds of crazy diets that I've seen people go for, right? And fat diets, and they are popular for a certain time and they will help you lose weight for a certain time, but sometimes you end up losing a lot of the muscle mass. So that is the catch here. If you're looking at losing lots of weight in a short span of time, fat takes some time to be able to move from your body, especially if you have a lot of inflammation. So again, keto is one of the most popular diets today, and keto is a diet that you should only go for if your digestion is strong, if you can digest the fats, right? Now, another case study I would like to talk about is a few years ago, I had this girl who was 23-year old and she lost about, 70, 80 pounds using keto diet, right? But she was feeling weak, she was feeling tired, she was exhausted, and she just kept sleeping all the time. So all she did was sleep, and all she could do the slightest activity, maybe do like a lesson when she was studying, and then she would go back to sleep. So that's how exhausted she was, right? So when I dug a little bit into the history, she talked about this fantastic weight loss that she had. She was feeling really good for a certain period of time. Her brain never felt better, until she was on keto. And then suddenly her energy started tanking. She was extremely exhausted, couldn't stay awake for long periods of time, was extremely cranky. There were mood swings, a lot of behavioral changes as well, and that was really interfering with her life, right? So we did the body composition report and I found that she had only 23% of the muscle mass. So when she did a proper ketogenic diet, which is high amounts of fat, so you're doing anywhere from 80-90% fat, right, to get into actual ketosis. And she was doing very less carbs, like 5% carbs, and she was doing about 10% of the protein, right? So she did like an 80, 85, 5, and 10 sort of the fat, carb, and protein ratios. And this is how she lost a lot of the muscle mass, right? So for a 23-year-old female, I don't want to see her napping all the time or feeling super exhausted or not having any energy. But that happened because of the fat diet. So the number three reason why you are rapidly losing muscle mass is you're following a kind of diet that is not suitable to you. You're looking at weight loss, but you're losing the wrong kind of weight. What you should be losing is fat and not the muscle mass. So this is an extremely important lesson to understand. And this is true not just for keto, but if you're on like a smoothie diet, or are you doing the master cleanse where you just drink like lemon water or honey water, right? So if you are going through any diet that's creating starvation, if you're not feeding your muscle mass, this is a big issue and this will create a lot of muscle loss. And muscle loss will take some time to be rebuilt, right? And it will come at the expense, like you're losing, weight at the expense of your muscles. So that is a wrong thing to do, right? So don't go for any fad diets. Always, when you're following a diet, ask yourself one question: is this sustainable to be? Can I carry this for the rest of my life? And if the answer is yes, then go for the diet, right? So Dr. Manu Chabra is here, Isha is here as well. I'm just going to say a quick hi. We're talking about building muscle mass and physical strength. Now, the second point is, how do you test for optimal muscle mass? Again, when we look at weight loss, which everybody wants to lose weight, but weight loss is a misnomer. If you have excess fat, that is the fat that you should be losing, because fat is inflammatory in nature. When you have too much fat in your body, it will make your insulin not function as well, causing insulin resistance. It can lead to other conditions like polycystic ovarian syndrome. Sometimes it can lead to high blood pressure. It can lead to diabetes. So there are so many risk factors when you have excess fat in the body, right? But weight on the scale is a little misguiding when it comes to your muscle mass. So ideally, a body composition report is the one thing you should get done, right? And in the clinic here in Sarnia, if you're interested, we do body composition reports. It's a quick 15-minute assessment where I'm going to hook up some electrodes on your hands and feet, and I make you lie down, and then I'll take some of the numbers from my machine and I punch those in my computer, and we get a sheet which will talk about your muscle mass in terms of the pound as well as the percentage of your body. We look at your fat mass in terms of the pounds and the percentage of your body. We get the basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories your body requires to function. We look at the cellular hydration, and we also look at the overall hydration. And we look at something called phase angle, which is a cellular, how healthy your cells are. It gives an indication of that, right? So these are all the things we can find out in the body composition. And having good quality muscle mass, having strong muscles, having optimal muscle mass is extremely important for you. If you are a man or a woman, or what age you are, it does not matter, right? It is important to have that muscle mass. Otherwise, you start feeling tired and exhausted, and you just start feeling completely blah. Another superb example I can give you is, we had a client, um, pre-COVID. So there was this amazing, gentleman who saw me before COVID, and he really wanted to get healthy, and he wanted to lose his, excess body fat. And we worked on it for over, a period of time. So we were working on it for, 3 to 4 months. And this is the program that I do in my clinic. It's called the Complete Metabolic Reset. And we found that after he was in his 80s, right? And we found that he had built about 6 pounds of muscle mass, and he had lost over 10 pounds of body fat, right? So if you go onto my website, you can look at some of the testimonials, you can look at some of the changes that have occurred. But it is 100% possible to lose weight, especially the body fat, right? If you're targeting it right. But for that, you should know the body composition. Another example is, I had a client called Carolyn, and we started working on the same program. She lost about 19.5 pounds of body weight, but the fat loss was 13.2, and she had built at least 4 pounds of muscle mass, right? So this is where, you need to know how much muscle mass you have now in order to understand what exactly are you losing. So if you are someone who's watching this, and if you are already trying a diet, or if you are planning to implement a diet, or if you're looking at a quick health check, so getting a body composition report will give you the exact composition of your body, which is crucial information for you. So if you're local, just feel free to reach out, right? So the third one factor we're going to talk about, I'm trying to cover as much as I can in this quick talk. I'm going to say a quick hi to Dr. Harish. Nicole is here. Dr. Alka Ayurveda is here. Amit Soni is here as well. So I'm just going to say a quick hi to everybody who's here. I'm quickly going to look at, okay, Darshana says, I'm good. Thank you. Nice to see you, Darshana. Bibha is here as well. Okay, perfect. So Any questions so far, or if you have questions, let me know. Next point we're going to cover is what is the one thing that is crucial for muscle retention, right? And this is another interesting aspect. So when we look at muscle retention and you're eating protein and you're probably not even allergic to the protein, right? So it's working but it's not getting retained in your body. You're eating the protein which your body is okay with, it's not reacting to it in a negative way, but still you're not picking up the protein. At that time we have to assess the status of your digestion and also the status of your liver, right? So from an ayurvedic perspective our assessments are slightly different. We take a look at your tongue, I'll take a look at your pulse, and that's how I can understand what's going on inside your body, right? So if you are not having, a strong digestion, if you're not having a strong liver function, no matter what you eat, you are not going to be able to absorb it, right? You're not going to be able to absorb the protein. If you're not having enough stomach acid, if you're having a lot of digestive distress, if you have lots of gastric inflammation, if you're on PPIs or antacids for pretty much all your life, your protein converting enzymes require acid to function. So if you're on acid blockers, it's not going to work well for you. And that is the number one crucial thing. You have to assess your digestion, your liver function, because liver, we look at it as a part of digestion as well. So it is extremely important that the digestion metabolism is extremely important for muscle retention, right? So the fourth question that I get asked every single time, no matter who I meet, is how much protein should I be eating? Right? Should I be eating, 6 ounces of protein? Should I be eating a certain grams of protein or a certain percentage of protein in my diet every single day? Right? So, how much protein you should be eating is going to vary from person to person, from age to age, and from life stage to different life stage, right? So women and men, again, there are going to be slightly different ratios of protein. If you're an athlete or if you are pretty sedentary, that will give you different answers as well. So there is no one fixed answer, right, for how much protein per day do you require, or how much protein, so technically you would have read that, a sedentary adult will consume zero point 0.8 grams of protein per kg of his body. If you're active, you can go up to 1 gram, right? But again, this is a very rough idea, and again, you have to look at the status of your digestion, you have to look at your activity, you have to look at your metabolism, right? So there is no one answer for how much protein should I be consuming. It is a very individual phenomena, right? And certain lifestyles, like if you are extremely active, if you're an athlete, you're going to require a lot more protein. If you are someone who's a runner, right, you're going to require a different form of protein, right? If you are somebody who's very sedentary, you're going to require easily digestible protein, but it should not be a lot. Again, if you have different conditions, this is going to be slightly different. So I've seen people consume lots and lots of protein, and if they have issues with their kidneys, then you are not supposed to have that much protein, right? So any of your health conditions, your digestion, your life stage, your requirements, this will determine exactly how much protein you require. And that is why, if you book like a free consult with me, we can discuss how to, get there. Now, the last point I wanted to talk to you about was, protein supplements, shakes, and energy bars, right? So, the truth about protein supplements, the truth about protein shakes and energy bars, the biggest truth about all of these is that they are processed, right? No matter whether you're looking at plant based protein or no matter whether you're looking at animal based protein, right? So if you're looking at a whey protein and if you're looking at a vegan protein, again, they are something that's been processed, right? So from an Ayurvedic perspective, we talk about eating fresh foods, eating live foods. They will have a lot of life energy, which is known as prana, which will also energize you. When you're eating something that's over processed, foods are going to miss out on those prana, right? And if you are constantly having energy bars, right? So energy bars or protein bars can also have a lot of sugar. If you're not very careful about reading the labels, the sugar might end up making you gain weight, right? If the energy bars are whey bars and you're allergic to whey, then you're not going to be absorbing it, right? It will create more digestive issues. It will create like a lot of gastric distress. And I have lost the count of, how many people I've spoken to and who are drinking shakes every day. And then they realize that, oh, this is, it's probably the shake that we find out that, you're reacting to. So you could be reacting to the energy bar, you could be reacting to the protein shake, right? If you are an athlete, if you require that protein, definitely, you can go for protein shakes. But for an individual who is sedentary or who's not working out or who's not specifically doing strength training, even having protein from a dietary source, right, is good enough for the entire day. So what are some good dietary sources of protein? There is animal protein. So you're looking at eggs, you're looking at chicken, you're looking at beef, you're looking at pork, right? Now these are all animal proteins, but the bigger the animal is, the heavier it's going to be to digest, right? And the fattier the cut is, it's going to be heavier to digest. So beef, though it's, a fantastic protein for those who are eating it, it's going to be heavy to digest if you're struggling with digestion. Pork is extremely heavy to digest because it's extremely fatty, and the fat protein combination makes it even harder to digest, right? Eggs are, if they're tolerable to you, if you can handle them, definitely eggs are a good source of protein. Chicken, poultry, fish is an excellent source of protein, right? So these are comparatively easier to digest than beef or pork. So making like white meat or, chicken, poultry, fish, those should be your primary sources. And if you have fish, if you have some of the fattier fishes, that will also help you build up your omega 3 levels. So that's one thing you should be doing. Now, when it comes to vegetarian protein is definitely something that can help you build your muscle mass, right? So having tofu, if you go for organic non-GMO tofu, tofu is fantastic for giving you all the essential amino acids, right? We call it complete protein, that you have all the 9 essential amino acids. Tofu has it. Quinoa is another fantastic source of vegetarian or vegan protein, right? So quinoa is also a complete protein. And then if you decide to go for lentils or beans, you can mix and match them with some rice, so they become a complete protein. And that is why, if we look at different traditional diets, especially in India, where predominantly we are more plant based, so there's always a combination of a dal with rice, or a dal with like something, makki di roti, which is corn, and then you're having some dal, right? So corn and beans, or beans and rice, that combination gives you a complete protein, right? So from my perspective, having protein at each meal is important to keep the blood sugar stable. Having digestible protein is extremely important. If you are eating a certain protein like chickpeas or be it animal protein, and if you feel heavy, if you feel bloated, if you feel gassy, if you feel extremely uncomfortable, you're not digesting that protein well. So this is a few, these are a few things you should know about building the muscle mass and building some of, like, why you don't need all the protein shakes and the energy bars, right? And convenience again is very different from nourishment. So when you're eating food, always approach it with the idea of nourishment. Is it nourishing me? Is it helping me what I'm eating? Is it really supporting my muscles, or is it, am I just eating something as a filler just to fill in when I'm hungry? So if you make that conscious decision to nourish, that's going to be extremely important. Now, regarding physical strength, again, it's the muscle mass in your body that is also responsible for your physical strength. It's the muscle mass in your body that can be tapped onto by your body when it's in a crisis, like any infections you're battling, or if you're having any chronic, health issue, or if you're having extreme anxiety, or if your adrenals are completely out of balance, or lots of like the fight flight mechanism is happening in your body. So your muscles will be tapped into, right? and that will make you lose that physical strength. So muscles in the body are also an important factor for your physical strength. And in Ayurveda, there is this concept of ojas, right? So, what exactly is ojas? And ojas, from an Ayurvedic perspective, that's the one thing that's responsible for physical strength as well. So, when you eat food that goes through a series of digestions, right? So, um, at different levels. So, your digestion happens when you're eating food. The first product is going to be all the juice from the food. We call it annarasa, and then it is going to feed seven tissue layers, right? So those seven tissue layers are going to be fed right from your plasma or rasadhatu to shukradhatu or all the reproductive fluids. And then the final digestion or the transformation that happens is the state called ojas, which is the vital juice, or it shows your vitality, it shows your physical strength as well, right? And having foods that are natural, having foods that are fresh, having foods that are seasonal, having foods that are compatible to your body and compatible with each other are the ones that are going to get digested and go through those seven layers, right? Or seven steps, and be able to build your overall immunity, be able to build your overall physical strength, be able to build your overall energy, right? So that is why, start looking at cleaner foods, start cleaning up your diets, occasionally having an energy bar or a shake, if you're exercising a lot, or if you're traveling and there's no option, is completely fine, but don't make it a daily staple, right? So I hope you enjoyed today's talk. If you have any questions, I don't see any questions, so if you have questions for me, feel free to post those. I'm going to say a quick hi to Ganesh Ayurveda. So if you have questions about what I talked right now, just post it in the comment section. If you have any comments, let me know that as well. And if there is someone that you know who will benefit from this information, please feel free to share this video with them. And please, help them take care of their muscle and their physical strength as well, right? So thank you once again for watching this live. I am super excited. I'm going to do an offering soon. Um, so I will be hosting a live Ayurveda Day event on November 2nd. I'm kind of late hosting it and planning it. So, but it's going to be super exciting. It's just going to be like an Ayurveda Day virtual retreat, November 2nd, and it's a free event, and the registrations will go live either tomorrow or the day after. So, yeah, keep an eye out on that. Isha is asking me, does it help to have smaller portions of protein to allow digestion? Definitely. See, again, we have to look at how strong our digestion is. So if you can cut the portion into smaller, or you can make sure you're following certain practices like chewing your food extremely well, right? Making sure your stomach acid in the body is functioning well. So in that case, that will help the protein to digest. But smaller portions of protein would definitely be easier to digest, because protein also takes a lot of digestive energy, right? So if you have a lot of protein, it's going to sit in your belly for a long time to be processed. So smaller portions, if you're struggling with digestion, definitely you can go for smaller portions. So I hope that answers your question. Mary Alice is saying, thank you, very helpful information. You're most welcome. And if you have questions, do let me know, and I'll go back to this video and I will be answering those. Hi, Sunena. So Sunena is here as well. Perfect. So thank you once again. Have a fantastic, fantastic day. Keep your eyes open for the Ayurveda Day virtual retreat. It's going to be a free retreat, and it's going to be an interesting event. So I'm just kind of planning that. It should go live in a day or two. Thank you once again. We have Diwali next week. I'm super, super, super excited about Diwali, one of the biggest festivals, Indian festivals. We are just about a week away. So that's new in my life. That's happening. Thank you so much, Darshana. Thank you. Have a fantastic day. And I will see you all next week for the next Wellness Wednesday. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe, and have lots of fun. Bye for now.